What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We're doing baseball now, baby. We got our guy Jumpshoot back. Jumpshoot, what's going on, man? How we doing?
Hey, good afternoon, Mike. Happy St. Patrick's Day to you, and thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for doing this again. I know you jumped on a few times last year. You kind of helped me guide me through my first aggressive year on the MLB side of Sorare stuff. So excited to jump back in. We had the American League auctions fire up yesterday. How deep into the auction streets have you been so far?
So I was trying to stay away, but woke up at I don't know, kind of early morning hours, and had to go to the bathroom. Old guy problems, I
Yeah,
guess.
respect.
And saw auctions still going on, so had to put my hand in, and then subsequently had trouble falling back asleep. So
Yeah,
it's like, okay, good job, you got that Kyron Paris for like a one over min bid, but now you can't sleep for the next 4 hours. So
yeah,
it's
yes.
one of those things where we got to kind of judge our mental health a little bit for it. But it felt really good at the time. And then there was a 4 hour break too, and he was like the second card on, and then he went to like above $4. So I was like, oh, big brain, man. I got him for like 240, and you guys are paying $4. What are you
There you
doing?
go.
So
Huge W. I guess why don't we do actually first off we'll give away. It's going to be a classic card for the first show because I haven't bought any new in season stuff yet, but we'll fire up a giveaway. If you like this stream, you subscribe to the channel. Put hashtag Jumpshoot into the chit chat. That'll work whether you're watching us on Twitch or everywhere else. There we go. Samurai saying, is Mike's audio a little ahead of his camera for anyone else? Is it ahead or behind? Sometimes it's behind, but if it's ahead, that's good feedback. Let me know and I can adjust it after the show. But Jumpshoot, what I figured we could do here today is, I don't know, get us a little started. Like, what is your game plan here as the auctions have slowly are trickling out here? We've got baseball starting in just over a week, right? Like how aggressive are you being earlier? Like how are you handling the first couple of weeks here?
well, I think the first thing you got to do is like pay attention, first of all. And it's hard with the dynamic market to say, everybody go and do this one thing because it's absolutely the one best thing to do right now. And so that's what really makes me engaged and kind of, I don't know, tickles the hair on the back of my neck if I'm really being nerd out a little bit, where it's like, oh, let's game plan about this a little bit. And it really is kind of like a constantly changing hour to hour, minute by minute. I
Mm-hmm.
think So Rare is ultimately like a game of emotion. So it's like how you feel about it. What's really tricky about buying now is that there's no immediate feedback. So,
Right.
okay, you bought the card, it's in your account, it's not really doing anything. You can't build a lineup with it yet. And it doesn't necessarily, like, I kind of consider it now with like folks buying cards like winning the off season with MLB teams of like, hey, we acquired this super awesome player, but hopefully it's not like an Anthony Santander and then he gets hurt and he's on the shelf and then never get to use him kind of thing. So subsequently, like, just the cards you buy now doesn't necessarily automatically mean you're going to be winning these tournaments, but you have a shot to do it. I think sometimes sitting back and letting see how it plays makes a lot of sense. I don't think So Rare's really informed the market or community that like well, or what I would like to do. And there's only so much they can tell us, but we really don't know like how many mints of the cards they're going to try and have
Sure.
out by opening week. So without knowing the supply, how can you really determine demand? I think we're in a discovery phase right now with where prices and how the market's going to react to everything.
Well, and
And yeah, go
it's
ahead.
one of these things too, where I mean, I know we talk about this at the beginning of every season, but everything's going to be overpriced early. But it also means there's less of those things available early, and so that gives you an advantage early. So, yes, it does. I saw Taylor in the chat, kind of saying like, "Oh, you gotta." No, like it's hard. It's a sucker's game or whatever, buying early. But at the same time, you do need, you want to try to field a roster in some of these in-season contests where that is going to be where more of the prizes are going to be, where those will be heavier. You kind of have to make some moves a little bit earlier, but then it does kind of put a little pressure on you to be successful early too. So it is kind of like a push-pull of how to attack the MLB season. I know what I ended up doing last year was I definitely made a lot of purchases early, but they weren't necessarily my big boy purchases. Where some of the heftier price tags, I waited on, like some of like the Aaron Judges of the world, the Otanis of the world, until we got later into the season when those came down a little bit, and then try to take some chances. Like I just built out a couple of stacks of like wet teams that were going to be playing in favorable weather or on the West Coast early on. It was like, maybe I can sneak together a couple of good game weeks here and then start, as prices come down, start taking some shots at it.
Yeah, I think what's great about this, and that's a great point that you made as well, is like get your toes wet a little bit or get where you're comfortable, and then after that you can wade in more. And I think like to your point, by month 2 or 3, we've got a lot better of a price breakdown and what kind of like is more of a floor. There were some issues with the minting speed last year where it was going a little bit fast, so stuff started to matriculate down a little bit faster than people would have liked. And that's going to happen with some players, but with the whole market, that's where it kind of gets a little bit risky as well. And so, yeah, I like, in my opinion, like I love So Rare. It's a great hobby. I think it's like pure fantasy, like that one pitcher against that one batter, essentially. Like there's nothing else in sports that compares to that. Maybe if you're into cricket, possibly, but I don't know. That's not my necessarily thing. So baseball is it for me. So Rare helped me fall in love with that. And then also like follow different teams and different players you wouldn't necessarily care about otherwise. Because hey, they're either going to help me, hurt me, or somebody I could scout to help me in the future too. And it's just a great way to play along with it. But in your regard too, speaking to kind of your point as well, is like I just wouldn't put anything you can't afford to lose. I think it's a hobby. It's not an investment. We're not throwing this stuff in a bank. And what this series season really encapsulate is like that one in season, like we're really just going for that this year basically. And so like the Russ Westbrooks of the MLB. The guys that are kind of older but can still shove and put up triple doubles and lots of points, but people kind of, oh, well, he's Russell Westbrook and I'd rather have this sexy 30, 23-year-old or whatever. It's just kind of nice to be able to add value to those guys that are older. And I think this is a great example. Essentially, there's some value to be had possibly in those older gents, but then you run the injury risk too. So you're kind of like a little bit of, you gotta manage what your risk tolerance is.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess one of the things too that I figured we could hit, like with some of the new announcements for what this season is going to look like. I know there was like lots of conversation around energy and how we're seeing it mirror a little bit more closely to what they're doing in the NBA side of stuff too, and I'm probably the football side of stuff, where instead of being able to use the energy for a bunch of classic cards, you basically are able to use one classic card per contest. And I understand like the uniformity of that, right? So instead of them trying to handle, there we go.
Sorry.
No, the more the merrier, dude. The more the merrier. But I guess with some of the like the recent announcements or additions to like gameplay and stuff, how are you feeling headed into the new year?
Yeah, I think it's one of those where it would have been nice to see 2 classic cards per lineup instead of 1, just because our starting pitchers only go once every 5 days at best. So you've got to have a kind of like a stable of them essentially at some point to rotate in, and then also having that like Shohei Judge that you can just kind of staple into the lineup too is always nice to have. I think from a classic perspective as well. The hot streaks, I know there were people saying like, oh, we should have gotten money in that, but like Essence is kind of like the glass half full, or how I've thought about that is that Essence is the most valuable during the beginning of the year because you can get these cards that have all this utility for the length of the season. I think we had like 55 or 56 game weeks last year, which is like amazing in my opinion, of chances to use these over and over and over and over again and play for an extended period too. But then with hot streaks, okay, there's no cash, but maybe there could be some added in a little later. Essentially, again, I don't think it has to be necessarily a ton to get some people excited with it and give additional value to some of the cards.
Yeah, I'll be curious to see how they handle that as we as they go through the season and what like the feedback will be. All right, why don't we like mess around with some of like our actual MLB takes like heading into this season, because there's been like a lot of movement, and I'm also like curious like how I don't know, like how in the weeds everybody's been with this offseason with all of the movement. And I like that baseball is kind of such a big sport in the sense that I feel very locked in with like what the Boston Red Sox are doing, but I don't know how 100% especially like stuff that was going on in the National League. I don't think I was like too locked in with yet, and I'm
The
like trying.
Pirates, man. Pirates
Yeah,
kind of went out a little bit. Ryan O'Hearn, and then they've got
give me the rookie.
Marcel Ozuna too. So
Yeah, I'm excited about the rookie. Was it Connor
Griffin,
Griffin?
Connor
Yeah,
Griffin,
really.
yeah, he was like #1 overall too. And again, they have a hot spring, and everybody reads so much into that. And it's like, okay, bigger picture. And
Yeah,
that's something digital dugouts guys were big on too, and something good for new folks or just like knocking off the rust is you're gonna have players that cycle from hot to cold, and so you want players that are starting to cycle hot and not already super hot at the end of theirs, and then they're going to kind of like so positive regression and negative regression kind of thing. And yeah, going into this year, like Perdomo, I think was outstanding last
yeah,
year and kind of out of nowhere. Even Cal Riley, going up to the All-Star game was relatively cheap, and then after that just took off. And this year it's like close to the same price as J Rod for some of these limited auctions as well. So just wild to see some of that. I don't know, just how last year just really, and it's like, okay, in theory, there's probably more of a regression level as opposed
sure.
to another step up in theory, or at least that's my view. And that's where it's fun to play along with this and kind of buy stocks in these MLB players as well.
Yeah, I think that's a good point too. Like, because the Raleigh thing too is that some of that price gets inflated by being useful for the entire postseason run as well, right? Where some of those cards get lifted up a little bit just because they're more because you can continue to play them in September and October, where some of those were shut down a little bit earlier. And yeah, you're right. That's like a fun kind of game to play where we have a pretty good feel for what Judge is going to look like every season. Otani, Mookie Betts, whatever. Like the tier one guys who we've seen it do, have seen them do it a handful of years in a row. And now, like, listen, Cal Raleigh might take a step back after not shaking Randy Arozarena's hand in the World Baseball Classic. You know, do you or is there like is there a
There's
drinking
no
game?
bad blood between that though.
Yeah, is there?
No drinking game. I just got a high noon going, but no, go ahead.
No. I was gonna say I meant the drinking game for the people watching right now that
Oh, the
everybody has
caps.
to take a drink every time you switch hats.
No, I might have to run into the hat if that's or into my closet and get even
Yeah,
more of them. If I just had a few of them for it, so I figured why not show them off. I don't really wear them as much as I want to, and then yeah, just find deals, and then I'm a
there you go.
sucker for a deal. So and I like the Reds. I mean, who doesn't like Ellie? You know.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. Okay, let's do some American. We'll start with the American League stuff just because that is the that's like where the auctions have started. Have you had a game plan for like teams you are trying to target this season or
If you
players that
want
you?
to throw it over to me, so one of the
Yeah,
websites that I like is the MLB schedule grid.
yeah.
So
I
let's see
think
here. How do I present? I've got to present, and
yeah, you
then
present
sorry,
there at the
share
bottom.
screen, share the screen, share my entire screen. I think is fine. That's fine. Or actually, Chrome tab's probably better.
Yeah, tab's the easiest way to go, just so we don't have to see what else you're looking at. You know what I'm saying? There, James?
I actually have a few of them queued up though. So
All right,
why don't I do the window and we'll conceptualize it for a second and then go to
all right.
maybe that works.
Good to
National
share. Yeah,
Leagues.
there we
Yeah, I
go.
think so. National Leagues. So this is one of the things that I really like. DJF and First Mint, and he's around a couple. He plays MLB as well. Has helped me out with. So this is kind of like an overall schedule grid where you can see every team essentially. So you got the National League on the top and the American League on the bottom. I've got a Google Sheets that we could share in the show notes if possible, and could
Cool.
take you to this website. And there's also you can go to the end, and there is a spreadsheet that they can get. It still hasn't been updated since December, but I am assuming once he gets into season, will go again. Typically, that's what's happened. So with these, essentially, what I like to do is like look overall. With the amount of games. So with the first game week, you can see that calls out to me specifically. It's like Cleveland and Seattle, I believe, have a 4 game week. Houston and the Angels as well. So that's something where okay, you're in a game week. There's a team with 3 games, or a team with 4 games, and it's cumulative scoring, much like the playoffs.
Hmm.
Okay, you kind of want to go with the more opportunities, typically. But Seattle, Cleveland in Seattle against their pitching.
Right.
The thing that's going to be hard with game week 1 is everybody's ace is going to play. So that's where if somebody like Taylor was like, "Hey, I'm not quite into these appetites now." There's a potential where I don't know. I just think with all the crafting that could come about on the 26th of March, essentially right after game week 1 lock. that has a chance to influence supply significantly.
Absolutely.
And who knows what that does to prices, but it's typically when you get a lot more supply, you need to have some type of demand to sustain it, essentially, to keep the price at the same point. So will that happen? I don't know. And again, I'm just sharing my best ideas, guys. I
Yeah, yeah,
like interacting with community. I'm not always right. I like being wrong because that's when I find out stuff, and like I like to
absolutely.
genuinely share because I feel like a good debate helps strengthen my ideas. And again, I there's a lot of stuff I don't see, and that's where I really do appreciate the community pointing out stuff and saying, "Hey, have you thought about this or that?"
Uh,
So for this, Mike, oh, go ahead, Mike.
No, okay, I was gonna ask if you could zoom in just if you could enhance that just a little
Yeah.
bit. And
Let's
as you
see
were
here.
talking about that, it made me think like if I was going to spend money on this first game week, I think like because assuming all of the tier one guys are priced similarly, of course there's going to be variance there. But I think I'd be more interested in not wasting, using some of my capital on pitchers for in season than I would for hitters. Just because, like you mentioned, we're going to get a bunch of aces that first weekend. And from an offensive point of view, again, and maybe I'm leaning too much into the weather, but just knowing, like, especially on the East Coast, how disgusting it can be in early April, that the offensive numbers are a little bit down, unless, of course, you're in like Texas or Atlanta or over in the West Coast or whatever. Thoughts on that? Is that like comes off the top of my head? Like maybe using that a little bit more on the starting pitching.
Yeah, well, so the one you make a great point. I really like your point with spring weather and it being cold. And so teams that have warm weather and are under domes, another good DJF shout out too with that, but you as well, like, Wrigley isn't going to play the same in April as it does
Right.
in June or July kind of thing. And even where the A's play in Sacramento, it's going to be warm, but not like 110 degrees hot, and the ball's like just absolutely flying out of the park too.
Right.
So that's a great point to consider. I think, and Aaron Borland made this point too. So shout out to Borland as well. That like you need a stable of pitchers, but then the one thing that's hard about the in-season pitcher is they're only going to go for you one every 5 days. So I guess you'll have them for one game week, and then you probably won't have them for the second game week, maybe. So you're kind of skipping a game week there
Hmm.
every once in a while with them. And then also the other thing with starting pitching too is like they typically are a little bit more prone to get injured than like positional players. And again, you can't
Definitely.
say 100%. They're going to get, but typically injury, they get more arm injuries and then can't play. Some positional players play through anything, but it affects their numbers a little bit. So you're like, would you rather have them sit out, get healthier for that? But I do think the one point too with starting pitching is like, okay, you have one classic card that can have the most amount of XP. The most amount of XP in a normal game week is driven through a bat kind of thing.
Right.
And so you want to maximize that total as opposed. So if I get a score of 50, okay, I want as many bonus points on that as opposed to I get the same multiplier on a score of 21 or something like that.
Yeah, that's what I've been going through and thinking about because I did a lot of buying last year throughout the season because I was trying to get some collection bonuses and all that stuff with some of my teams. And
Well, it
then
makes a big difference. It makes a big
yeah,
difference.
and in the postseason too, I really did try to accumulate some of those guys because a lot of them I thought would be usable again in the new season. And I just keep going back and forth where I'm like the most money I spent were on some of those like big bats, and I don't know if I want to go do that again. And so that to me in my mind, I'm like that's going to be the classic guy that I roll out there, and that maybe we'll
No,
take the
I think
discount.
that's a good point. And I think it's nice to have that really great in-season bat. You can start the XP, you can start the build with it. The other thing too I meant to point out is like the collection bonus or the
Yep.
time for keeping has changed. So before it was every 10 you got 10 points after 90 days, and now it's you get 20 points after 30 days. So pretty significant boost in overall. So even some of these garbage guys that we might get from crafts, they help boost your overall team scores as well for that um, as well. And I guess the one other thing with like the big, huge in-season bat, like I got a Ram really early on. I think it was number one overall. It was like
Mhm.
in that $70 or $80 range. I didn't have any credits because I thought the boxes were going to self-open. Shame on me, but whatever. water under the bridge. I had a fun time. It's a hobby for me too, kind of thing. But then you almost have to staple that big bat into your lineup almost no matter what. Even if they're slumping, there's going to be something that's like, well, this could be J Rams a week.
Yeah.
Like he could just steal a bunch and then hit a couple dingers and like everything's back on track, kind of thing.
Well,
Um,
and I relate it to basketball just because that's where my mind is right now. But it's the same thing if like, Jokic has one game instead of two, and well, not Cade's a bad example, but say somebody like, even like a Jalen Brown has two games and the projections are close. Like I'm sorry, I'm gonna go with like the perennial guy. So like in this scenario, Jose Ramirez might not be projecting through the moon, and then there's like a somebody who's a tier like that, but Trevor Story from the Red Sox is in a good spot. I'm still
mhm.
going to lean with Jose Ramirez in that scenario. And maybe that's soft, but I think I'd still, I trust Jose Ramirez, a slumping Jose Ramirez against bad pitching. I mean, against good pitching, I would still do it because we have like the sample size, and I mean, him, for example, just he has so many different ways that he can get there, both with speed and with power.
Absolutely. But the one negative against him, and the same thing with Bobby Witt, is his supporting cast kind of
Mhm.
thing isn't quite there, like where a
Right.
Judgy or maybe some of these other, Dodgers lineups kind of thing do it for you. So but yeah, I think that's a great point. And what's great is too about it is like we have multiple lineups. So it's like, okay, you want to go with your, hey, this is my conviction, but then hey, I'm gonna hedge against my conviction with
Right.
X, Y, and Z. I really like that too. And the multiple lineups has been a huge boon as well and a lot of fun. So this is kind of like what I like to look for overall. One of the things I noticed too was the Athletics aren't really that at home that much to start off with. They're away a lot of it. They've only got Houston at home for 3 games, and they're kind of away at New York and New York Mets, which I hate that, like in the early April
Yeah. No,
timeframe as
thank you.
well. So again, but you're gonna have to, if you're gonna buy these pieces at some point, you're gonna buy them. And I think too, it's like the future is unknown, and the farther out you go into the future, it becomes unknown. And so really just planning for this game week or the next game week is kind of your best bet. But I mean, again, we're fans. We like to have our favorite players. So it's like you want to go out and get a guy, like go ahead for it. But yeah, prices are still kind of in this discovery phase, I guess, as
Yeah, and
well.
I mean, to your point with the Athletics, like if again, where they could surprise us, go to New York and put up like a bunch of crooked numbers, and then that throws everything through a loop. But if you do think they're going to get off to a slow start, I mean, everyone's going to see that, and then so maybe the prices get suppressed a little bit because they're like, maybe we don't need to get the Athletics. Maybe they're going to disappoint, and then you forget that they play in like a minor league ballpark. So, um,
Yeah,
it,
in Sacramento too, and it's going to be super hot in there too as well. So
I
yeah,
mean, we saw
exactly.
crazy numbers there this year, and it's something I did not follow up on. Is Tampa still playing in that same park?
No, so Tampa's back at the Trop. So that's like one of
Oh,
those things where it's like, yeah, well, so it's good for the pitchers though, right?
yeah, it's good for the
So the
pitchers, but
Tampa
it's
Bay pitchers, but yeah, everybody else, it's like, yeah, not great. It suppresses home runs
yeah,
and people just hate playing there. So
it sucks. I've
um
been there plenty of times, and it's a shitty baseball environment.
So Taylor asked, how many in-season cards do we need minimum to max out our lineups at the start? So you essentially have three leaderboard lineups, and you can have one classic card. So that's 3 times 6, so that's 18. And then you can have another three lineups for hot streaks. I really would value hot streaks lower than the leaderboards personally. Like go for put all your your best hitters towards cash kind of thing. Then
Mhm.
if I've got anything left over, put them to hot streaks. Hot streaks would be the same thing, so another 18. So I think you're at 36 basically there, Taylor, if I can do math off the top of my head.
Sounded good. It sounded
So
good.
we'll see.
Um,
But yeah, and with that too, it's like I think it's also interesting with the having them split. It's nice in NBA where they're both matched up, but they're split in MLB. But I think too, it's like I could see a world where you spin off the leaderboard. Hey, I don't think I'm going to win, but I think I might be able to hit my next threshold. And
sure.
then what's interesting with hot streaks, what they didn't do in NBA too, is your second lineup gets you like a 50% boost. So it's like if the target's 100 points just for the sake of ease or whatever, and you have like three lineups that score 110 points or whatever, so they all meet it, you get the initial reward plus
Yes.
50% plus 50% on
Uh,
top of it. So it's like an extra 50% for each additional lineup you get, which is kind of nice.
so okay, so hot streaks are actually they are separate from
Let's
the
see here. Yeah, I
main
think
l- lineup,
yes, the
right?
leaderboard. Yep, they're separate from the main leaderboard. I got to remember to use my spins here too. Oh, there was a blog that I was going to go to, but I didn't have it pulled up.
That's pretty
Um,
nut. I didn't realize that was. I missed that in the announcement.
yeah,
That
so
would be
essentially you're going to
different.
be either entering for a you're going to be entering for the leaderboards to compete against all the prizes, and you can have up to 3 entries there, or you can compete against like PVE and have three leaderboards up to that too.
Yeah, and I think
So let's see here.
with the no cash in the hot streaks, or at least for now, I think for me, I'm going to continue to similarly how I attacked NBA and MLB last year. Is I will like the in season will be my priority, and then I will figure it out after that. Like that's going, and then I'll just fill in. Hey, here are the roster pieces that I'm not using, the cards that I'm not using, and I'll fill in the gaps here and there. But I think for those main in season contests, that's where I want to be prioritizing most of my so rare capital.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And then also by entering those contests, you're also building XP on those cards. You can use XP that you win as well to do those. What's too bad too, and it hasn't been talked a lot, is like we had 100% payout last year in some of these, and
Mhm.
now it's just down to the thousandth place essentially gets XP. So it's kind of nice in the past of, hey, you put in a lineup that at least qualifies. Here's at least something for your efforts.
Yeah.
Again, paltry XP, but it starts to add up after a while. I'm not great at MBA, and so my lineups a lot of times don't get good enough into getting a lot of essence. I'll be more in XP land.
Mhm.
But I'm kind of like, I got a 3,000 limited XP payout just this last game week alone,
There you
which I
go.
was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. And yeah, I got my classic number 69, nice
Good.
rookie Wemby up to max XP now. So it's kind of cool.
There we go. That's nice.
So
So
what I'm on this page too. You like to go over this too. This is our fantasy pros page. So this is kind
yeah.
of like when you're saying your day of lineup. And again, this is a really good way to attack this very next game week as well. You can see the matchup ranks here on the left. So like Chicago Cubs at number 2 against Washington, super easy matchup in theory, or second easiest matchup on the slate. It gets a little bit confusing as this goes further out because it does the whole week as opposed to so rare weeks as well. But what I really like about this too is like for the newer guys that are still on with us, like right-handed bats against left-handed pitching
Mhm.
or left-handed bats against right-handed pitches, you typically have a big advantage there. And so you can call out the like Kevin Gosman here on Toronto. He's ranked 27th currently. What's fun about the new season too is like everything's still kind of jumbled up and mixed
Yeah.
up. It's like you're using last season, but it's not really quite fully baked in yet with all the changes, kind of what you alluded to as well. So you kind of go against that. And what's fun too is like Schwarber's left-handed bat really gets good against right-handed pitchers. So when the Phillies have a bunch of lefties faced up in a row, you're just like licking your chops, like, okay, this should be a good one, kind of thing.
The Jock Peterson of the world, the
Yes.
Jock Jams. Yeah,
Yeah, and your platoon players, that's a great point. And so that's a
yeah.
great value play as well, as hey, I've got this next matchup for this next game week. I don't really care about 3 weeks from now. I just want to try and do something this next game week kind of thing.
Yeah, and sometimes too, like if you're trying to do some trading on the market, those are the guys that you can sometimes get away of like pivoting off of. If you're like, oh, I'm using Jock as an example, but there are much better examples of like, oh, he's getting 3 right-handed pitchers this weekend, but I'm like, I'm probably not playing Jock. How many more times am I playing this card this year? And it's like, okay, maybe this is an opportunity to move off of that piece. Yeah, I really like this as kind of like a guideline because sometimes looking at the MLB schedule, especially like the weekends are a little bit more digestible, but on those Mondays, you're going back to work. You're trying to set a lineup and compete for 4, like for the entire week. And it can be a little overwhelming. This helps me break it down a little bit to at least like narrow down some options. I think you shouting out the Athletics spending the first couple of weeks in New York is like a great example of like, okay, I'm probably not going to highlight these bats. And then on the flip side of that, if you don't want to highlight these bats, maybe we highlight some pitchers over there, So I really do like this as a guideline to kind of like start the week. What are some of the other resources you try to like highlight while you're doing some building?
So there's the odds trader here. So this is another great one for the springtime. So they kind of tell you what's happening weather-wise. So shout out Hunter himself had a newsletter. Don't think he's doing it this season, but really helped out with that in the past. So we're kind of going to be more on our own this year with it. So just yeah, when weather comes into play, I mean, I'm here in Maryland, and now I've got to care about what happens in Kansas City or whatever else.
Right.
So it's like okay, like Minnesota, Borland, what's going on? Is it gonna, and then it's like, oh, it's supposed to, or even Taylor kind of helping out in Colorado. No, it's supposed to be done by 2 o'clock, but then tomorrow's not looking good and it's gonna be cold as hell. So
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where it is very difficult and tricky. So this is a little bit more, again, this is better day of or whatnot than so far out in the future. So, and I guess one of the other things with those jock cards too, it's like it might be helpful with missions if there's some meaningful
Yep.
thing that we get back from those. I think the crafting clues are going to be huge as well from that as well. So it just it's kind of too bad we don't have any daily arena and that stuff went away. But we'll just see what these missions, how it goes, and
Yeah, we'll
everything
see how those
else.
feel. Real quick, I know you had mentioned Hunter. There's something that he did a really good job. This is something that I've been toying with, and I don't know exactly how it's going to look. For those that are in the NBA streets, I've been doing a write up for some NBA content Monday through Friday. I'm going to do a similar thing for baseball. I think it'll probably be like once or twice a week while the NBA season's going on, and then once the NBA, and so it'll probably revolve around game week locks. But for once the season actually, once the NBA season winds down, it'll be a more regular thing that'll look at more daily plays, but will also be helpful as we take a look at different series and stuff like that. So just shared a link to that into the chat and on the 3 different platforms that we're streaming on right now. Go subscribe to that. It probably won't be as sharp as Hunter's. He was a magnificent blogger, but go subscribe to that, and hopefully that will.
Hunter did a great job, but Bagels with Locks is also really good too. So if you guys don't subscribe
Thanks, man.
already, definitely a big recommendation with that. And also, So Rare dropped the Discord link too. It's really just a lot more fun to play with people in the community. If you have questions or something looks weird. Sometimes there's notifications, it seems like, that I see on Discord first or possibly only on Discord and not necessarily. I'm not a big Instagram guy. I kind of stay off it, more Twitter and
Yeah.
Discord. So, but Discord's pretty good and you can kind of ask questions with folks too as well on that. So,
Yeah. One thing here, Taylor just asked. Yeah. So what the first like 2 are going to be in the same spot, Taylor. But what I'm going to end up doing, under my Substack, you can put in another like blog, so that way I don't just inundate the NBA people with MLB stuff if that's not your thing. But the first couple ones will be there, and it'll direct you to the second link, so you won't have to worry about it for the first couple. All right. Sorry, I did not mean to interrupt the resources.
no, you're good. This isn't really a resource, but this whole stupid bell curve thing, it's just kind of like nice to step back and take a think and like, where do I fit on this bell curve with knowledge of baseball? And I started a lot further back here, but had fun learning and making my way kind of up as well.
Yeah.
So just kind of one of these things where it's like we're all kind of within this curve, being within the excellent performers, especially with like all this knowledge that instantly comes out. Like you've got to be on your phone 24/7, and being at the state of the art just takes so much more effort ahead of that. And so it's just kind of like setting expectations and having fun, and like this is really just a hobby to engage with, and like and you can kind of be up here knowledge wise and still not necessarily always have great game weeks. Like a lot
Yeah.
luck comes into this a huge amount of times as well too.
Well, especially with
um
baseball. I mean, like basketball,
yep.
it's so much easier to project fantasy points based on minutes, right? And with MLB, like you could go 1 for 4 and hit a home run and get there, or you go 1 for 4 and hit the top of the wall and it's a long single or a double, and then you don't get there, So there's so much variance in it. But yeah, I totally agree with that.
Absolutely. So, and then the one other thing that I like too, that's not free, but I'm a big fan of So Rare Edge. Essentially, it's Patreon/ So Rare Edge. It's So Rare and Edge together. Nate does it, Pascal Wisdom, and he basically puts projections together. It's a spreadsheet, so it's not quite as sexy as the top tier projections or the
It's
NBA
still
So
really
Rare
good
Jet
though.
that I know guys really like. But it gives you a lot of information. Essentially, he's still building for this, but he did build mission controls in the past, essentially of like, hey, the best guy is to steal a base on this day. So instead of having to dive in, see who's playing, who's not playing, and all this stuff, and he has one that he built for the NBA where it actually automates it for you as well. So there's a couple different levels if you're interested, but this is something where it helps me be directionally correct.
Love that.
um his overall information starts at $5 a month basically, so it's not like this is a crazy super expensive endeavor if you're interested. So again, this is something I like. Appreciate what he does for the community too. So just wanted to share that. I think I might need to share my actual something else now, just real quick. I'm gonna just share, let's see, share screen, but I have to do um It doesn't want to do. I have two Chromes open, so I think I'm just going to do entire screen, and we'll live on the
Okay.
wild side right now. Because I have, yeah, I've got this open, so we should be good. And then I can do my spins as well.
Okay, let me through.
I'll
Yeah,
show
let's
you
see.
guys.
Let's get some spins involved. The other thing we have to
So
do, because we've now been going for like
ooh,
35 minutes, we don't have to do it yet, but we got to actually give some player takes here
nice.
before the
There
hour's
was a
up.
Max Muncy A that I just saw go by as well. That was rare. That was kind of cheap. I mean, some of these rare cards, like Ryan Mountcastle, I mean, he's going to be blocked by Pete Alonso a little bit.
Yeah.
But again, it's just kind of like, yeah, Gunner at 283 again, kind of out of my boat for that. And that's where I think like staying in the limited streets is kind of fun because you play with a lot more folks as well with it.
Yeah, I know
But
the So Rare team wouldn't want me to encourage not spending lots of money, and I appreciate them having us on here. But I am somebody that played aggressively in Rare the first couple of NBA seasons. My first MLB season, I played only in limited, but spent a little bit, and so I could build some really good teams. I enjoyed that version of the game so much that I took that to the NBA the following year or this past NBA season. Played mostly in limited, where I spent I spent less money, but was able to build better teams because of it. So, and then listen, if you find if you get your feet wet and you feel like you're cooking, you can move up to rare. Rare, it's probably easier to win because you have less competition out there. But totally, again, everybody's different.
yeah, and these rare prices are a lot cheaper than they've ever been. And you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. There's like a lot less competition at that level as well. But you're going against some of the big sharks as well. You're swimming with them. But what's great about MLB is you don't necessarily have to have the essentially. It's like you can have these other guys in here as well that we have going as well. So and yeah, the first 5 game weeks too are boosted. So it's not only $1,000 for first, it's $2,000 for first as well. So I mean, pretty nice juicy rewards. I think it's kind of nice to see them juice up a little bit of that for that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, could you have taken that and put into hot streaks? But hot streaks go forever. So another quick tip with hot streaks, you can skip a week as well, and they call it out in this blog. So hey, we're in the MLB streets. I've got a weekend at Seattle, or I don't really like my options. Hey, I'll wait for the week essentially to play where I have like a 4 game week batter or something like that, or a
Yeah.
closer or something like that. Ability to really, because the midweeks are really when you have abilities to score it a lot faster as well. So so that's another strategy that we can do. You don't have to play, which feels weird for me because it's like I'd rather just enter lineups and build that XP and like kind of like keep the grind going. But I did that for NBA. There was a weekend where we only had, it was like 2 weekends ago, where there was like a couple teams only had like 1 or 2 games. Skip
Yeah.
that, went for the midweek, and then got the $50 I think in
Yeah.
champion and in contender, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's kind of a conversation we have pretty regularly of just like especially on those weekends where it's like you could play, I always use the Red Sox, but say the Red Sox are playing the Mets in the weekend and then they get the Rockies on a 4 game series Monday through Thursday. It's like, well, okay, well let me just pause. Let me just not do it this weekend and go back after it in the week.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it makes a lot of sense just to kind of pick your shots, and then but then it's always hard because hindsight, you're like, oh, I could have gotten and we could have
Hey, true.
advanced, and then it is pretty tricky. So if you want to, can go ahead and spin some of these
Yeah.
wheels. What I can show you, I really haven't picked up that much. One of the tips is just going back a page or two, throwing in some min bid buys.
Oh,
So
this is a pretty good start.
two best star rank clue. So the best star rank, I not no, I don't feel like the best star rank clue is kind of like bunk, I think, in a way, because it's like, oh, there's a 3 star on this board, and you're like, yeah, but you didn't tell me where it is or
Okay, so
what. Like,
rank the clues we want to get.
I think so. If you can eliminate 5 cards and just keep the 5 highest cards, that would kind of seem like a pretty
Okay.
good overall win. I'm kind of a little biased because I did save up some essence during the NBA season for the All Star break, and then did a few. I got a special room, and then I used a division clue and I used a positional clue. And then I had two basically where it's like, okay, either one could possibly be Wemby. I chose right, And then the other one was like Taylor Hendricks. And I was like, woof,
Oh
man. Like
man,
that would have
man.
been the drop off between those two guys. Like,
Yeah,
it's not, I
seriously.
mean, but it is what it is kind of thing. So, and it's just one of those where I think the crafting system is a little bit more fun. You have a little bit more way of to like feel like you got to win.
Yeah.
My rub though is kind of like, it is kind of nice to like win a card as a reward of like, hey, I won this kind of thing. Now we just get cash. And then it feels like, I don't know. I don't want to be like, it feels like we get a chance then to win a possibly another card kind of thing too. So it's like not really quite, I don't know. It just seems a little different. It feels like it's a step removed as opposed to like,
Yeah. I,
I
I
won my rare Aaron Judge. And so it's like it's mine kind of thing as
sure.
opposed to, well, I spun the wheel and you came out kind of
I
thing.
definitely get that. The one thing I would say, and this will be the only disparaging thing I say about So Rare, is the way that they did tiers. This is basically crafting is basically the same thing as winning cards because their tiers were batshit especially in
Yes.
basketball, where
Yes.
Astar Thompson was in the same level as freaking Wembanyama for a little while. So, yes,
Well,
I do hear what you're saying though.
it's been difficult in MLB too, and that's kind of what makes me question the T2 rooms, the special T2 rooms, or even the star rooms as well. And again, they go based off the latest history. So something about that too with the vault is the vault's going to be your cards are already unlocked. So if you guys didn't know, like your vault, if you want to go list them or whatever, you can. But I don't know if they're going to do a lot in that regard, but possibly. But hey, they're free. It seems like we'll be able to relock again, possibly when we can build for the game week again, which is on Thursday. I'm kind of take a little bit of a slower approach, I think, to seal. Like some of the Joey Vottos, okay, they probably won't increase, so safe to lock away. But we saw DeJounte Murray, right, come back from the
Yeah.
long break, and his classic cards were all of a sudden $200, basically, if you wanted to seal it when he
Oh
was coming
yeah.
back because he shot up so much. So it's like, okay, are there other, and like, I know DeJounte, good player, but I don't think he's on the level with like a Wemby or Cade or anybody, right? So
Right, right. Yeah, and basketball, it's a little bit different because of the L10 thing, right, where like DeJounte came back and he was a 0 and he was probably going to put up 40 fantasy points. So like
yeah.
I get that. That's why it's a little bit different, which I kind of like about baseball too. It's almost like the great equalizer. You don't need to have. I forget who said this comment in the chat at the top of the show, but he was like, "I like that if when Aaron Judge gets hurt, it doesn't all of a sudden make Ahmed Rosario the best play."
Yep,
And
absolutely.
I think that's great. And then they said I
You're right.
think L10 has to be coming to quick play. Is that right?
I don't. They haven't announced quick play for
Okay.
MLB. We're hopeful that'll. Oh, there we go. I got it as a Zakarian miss. God, Jesus.
Oh
Oh, and we got
wow.
it. Oh, right on our. I don't know. I don't know if that's lucky headed into this boosted odds for this the golden
All
wheel.
right,
This is
here
my
the
first
golden
golden
one.
wheel. We'll see. Oh, $50. Come on, baby. Come.
Oh,
Oh,
there we
baby.
go. That's a nice little boost.
Influencer, baby. Then I guess that's one of the reasons you don't want to save it. So I was going with Labolo earlier and talking with him. And the one thing that we've noticed is that, let's see here, let's go here real quick. So if I go to, I can't craft yet, but if I go down here, you can see in the corner, you got
25.
like divisional crews and yeah, 25, but you have a max of 100 essentially,
Yeah.
and then 50 on these other ones. So with this wheel spin, you can actually max these out. And then I think one of the biggest benefits from the wheel right now, besides the market credits, which awesome.
That
That's
was huge.
amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you, streamer influencer. I appreciate that. And more people should come on. I don't know what to tell you guys. So um but it's like once those get capped and you reach your limit, essentially, they just go away kind of thing and get wasted. Oh, another miss. It's okay. We
Get
did
these
good in the
misses
golden
out of
wheel.
here.
I know. That's what I said. It's like I'd at least have like 50 XP or maybe 5 essence or
Yeah.
something. If you've got to like at least do something. But again, what Aaron Borland's point is, well, now Sorare will come in and be the White Knight and remove the mint and
Oh,
miss,
yeah,
and then
that's
it's like,
right.
oh, well, but it's like, well, why put the rake there if you know the customer is going to step on it, not like it? And I think too with this, it's just like an interaction kind
Yeah.
of thing too.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
sweet. Best star rank.
Oh,
No,
there
that's the
we
one that I don't like because that
okay.
just tells you it's like, oh, there's a 4-star on the board, but we don't know where it is. And it's like, you didn't really help me there at all. I guess maybe you use that one first to see if you want to use more clues kind of thing.
That's true.
I know Laird's been big with like another miss. That's okay. Has been big on like sending cards back that you don't want, but it's like if you don't have it yet and it can contribute to your team collection bonus. Again, getting my nerd glasses on or
Yeah,
whatnot.
I actually don't like the sending the cards back for like 1/5. I mean, I guess if
Yeah.
it's somebody who's playing in Japan, okay, but like I don't
Yeah.
know. I always just keep them.
Yeah, I feel like some guys get sneaky, and again, see that cycling where, hey, this player that's not really hot cycles really hot, and then they'll cycle back kind of cold again. So that's
Right.
where, like, it's not quite L10, but you do see where like the matchups or just how the manager uses them or whatever else makes a little bit of a difference. So
There we
we're
go.
going through. Woohoo! It's
It's
all
jump
good.
shoot. While we're spinning, who give us some takes. Who are you excited about this year? We can focus on
So,
the American League.
Gino and Henio Suarez. Well, I got well. That's yeah. Reds are in that National League. Okay,
Yeah,
so if
that's
we're
okay. You
going
can say
for
that.
well, I like Gino Reds. I don't know. Ellie had a little bit of a down year. I
Yeah.
think like Josh Naylor showed us, he's like lowest in percentile essentially as
Mhm.
far as sprint speed, but then got a lot of bags. It's like sprinting is like I want to do this, I can do this. Like it's you got to think you want to do, like Ricky, the whole Ricky gone kind of thing. Like,
Right, right.
like that's freaking awesome. I love that guy.
He's
So,
the best.
um, but just yeah, it's like so. It's like okay, was there something mentally there not right or whatever? Really think a lot of Terry Francona as well. I think as far as parks, like the Royals, essentially the walls moved in, fences lowered a little bit. Don't want to like that's not quite like the Rays moving over to the minor league
Right.
park, Steinbrenner
But
Field,
still a
and moving
boost.
back to the Trop. Yep, exactly. So it's something to consider as well. I don't think we didn't do anything with our wall this year, but we put in a giant scoreboard, so hopefully that doesn't f everything up. Baltimore Orioles. So yeah, Pete
Yeah.
Alonso signing, kind of like the polar bear. Hopefully it works out. Would have been nice to get some starting pitching with that. Okay, we got another
All
golden
right,
here.
boost, boost.
See, another 50 would be nice. Another 50 would be nice.
Come on, make him
Because that's
rich.
like the one thing that you can actually use now. 10 position clue. That's okay. That's
Yeah.
as long as it's not a waste. Man, that 50 was whew,
That was nice, man. What a hit.
pretty nice. So in a lot of these, yeah, I've just been getting miss on winning the auction. Which with this lucky loser, at first I was like, oh, people are going to manipulate this, and hey, I'll bid this, you bid that.
Yeah.
In its natural state, though, it's like previously it'd be like, oh man, this guy outbid me, blah blah blah. But now it's like, oh, you outbid me, that's okay. I get a wheel spin kind of thing. So it's kind of grown on me from that aspect too.
Yeah, it's so funny that in NBA that got me to really get involved in the auctions, like where I was just like, I don't really want this guy. Hopefully I come in second, but if I don't, then I get the guy. And if I do come in second, then I'll go ahead and take that extra spin. But I definitely did that a ton.
Yeah, and it's good to like participate and engage. And what I like even about this spinning right now, it's like, okay, I'm on the side, I'm doing something, I'm thinking about baseball, kind of thing.
Yeah.
$5 in market credits, let's go. So and what's nice is I got a spin again there too. So I think I might hit a third golden room if my calculations are correct here. So yeah, 5 and 5 spins. So
Yeah.
woohoo. So and yeah, with these too, it's like the prices and the auctions. We can go and see what like my Kyron Paris too. It's like we could talk about a little bit. I think it's like didn't know auctions were going to pause from like 4 a.m. to like 7 a.m. Eastern time.
Yeah.
So when they opened again, a lot of eyes had been sitting on that one that had not had been there for a few hours. Where the one that I bought at like 142, how many people had actually put eyes on it, kind of thing. Best sword. So I like the position and division where you can mix them together. Essentially, I think that's the best. What I've heard about the position too is once guys get multi eligibility, so Shohei could be a starting pitcher or he could be in DH, and only
Mhm.
one shows below him. So it does get tricky when you get like a Jose Caballero or whatever that, or David Fry of yesteryear that's like
David
eligible
Fry.
at every single position.
Yeah.
So
I somebody that I was I mean, again, a homer take, Boston Red Sox. Wilson Contreras is somebody who has like a great hitting profile for the Green Monster. And the Red Sox could run out 9 dudes they found in the stands, and they'd still put up 4.5 runs a game. Like they just score runs at Fenway. And I think he's going to be somebody that'll be a little underpriced. There we go. Nice. Did you just hit that, or is that
no,
you didn't
I've
touch
got
it?
to go for free spin. I was gonna let you finish your
Yeah,
Wilson
but I think
Contreras, but
he's
no, I like that. I like that.
yeah, I think like those Red Sox are pretty cheap, and you can get the bottom half of the order still going to get 4 at bats at Fenway. Is pretty fun. But I think he's going to be slapping a lot of doubles.
Nice. I like it. Best 5-star rank clue,
Boo.
one of the worst you can, but whatever. That's okay.
Boo.
We got the 50 and the 55, baby. We spent money to that.
Yeah.
Hey, it's like I lose it if I don't spend it, and that's
That's
one of the
right.
things with these MP credits is
You
like,
got to
oh,
do
burn
it.
a hole, burn a hole. But that's one other thing too. It's like, okay, with going back, okay, I've got 17 limited, cards from all the crafts essentially coming because of all the the energy essentially I hoarded from before. Whoops. And so it's just like, I don't know, I just that going to market again and influencing the hitting stuff is going to be interesting to see how it all goes kind of thing. So I guess I could show you guys what I got real quick on our way out, more or less.
Yeah.
I know we got to wrap it pretty soon. So really, like, yeah, limited cards. Nobody really too crazy. This Kyron Paris, he had a really big spring last season. So I think with these two, it's like I'm just buying overall teams, players I like. One thing
Yeah.
that hasn't been mentioned, if you made it to this far in the stream too, they told us in the blog that there were going to be collecting bonuses for teams that made the playoffs last season. And so it's like kind of cool to have an Easter egg like that of okay, they should
Yeah.
be some of these collection bonuses for collecting some of this stuff too. So
Well, and I
does
wonder
that
too,
really move the market price higher or not? But it's kind of like a nice extra thing to have.
is that just for in season or is that for
I would bet. I think it's for 2026. Originally, I was thinking, oh baby, 2023, all my play or 2025, all my playoff cards, baby. I'm gonna get this
well,
nice fat paycheck. And it's like, yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen.
I was hoping they were doing that to soften the blow for the people that spend money in the postseason. But yeah, you're probably right. You're
No,
probably
I think
right.
our reward was playing the postseason game
That's
and
true.
getting any rewards for that. So
It
yeah,
was
Robert
fun.
Stevenson, #1 rare card essentially that I
There you
got for
go.
min bid. So whoa. And then what was interesting is I ended up spending some super rare essence. So I'm like just below a craft for super rare too. So it's like, okay, is there going to be an opportunity at some point to be able to get that craft out as well? So and then I guess what I'm not sure of either with these crafts as well, and maybe if I crafted a limited or rare, these clues can go either way, right? So it's like I almost should craft initially, like the
Uh,
rares, and then go to limited. But I
oh,
don't
is it?
know.
I did not know that. I wasn't sure if that was the case.
'Cause it
But
looks like they show up on both of them.
yeah.
Like this is limited and rare.
Okay,
Maybe
yeah.
it'll change.
No, no, that's a good point. That is a good point. Look at that essence, bro. Um,
Yeah. Hey,
anybody
what's
else?
up, Slimfish?
Anybody else that you're excited about? I was looking at. I'm trying to find some guys that have moved around a little bit, and one of the guys in the American League that I was poking around at was Taylor Ward coming to Baltimore.
Oh yeah,
I'm kind of excited about him. I don't know if how
he's
the
actually a year older than Pete Alonso, which I found kind of interesting. But he's
yeah
going into a contract year as well, which should really help.
yeah
Um, with it as well. So yeah, I think he's kind of under. He could be under again. We say under the radar, and then five people start bidding on him. He's no
right
longer under the radar kind of thing too. But yeah, I think him. O's could have a sneaky lineup as well. Somebody on the Athletic pod just yesterday was like Adley Rushman. He's due to come back. I mean, he's
God.
got really his dad is just like Mr. Baseball as well. He was a 101 overall pick. So it'd be nice to see him eventually come back
I
from
have
that.
been
Like
I have been on Adley Rutschman for 45 years. I think every single year I'm drafting him in every effing style of fantasy baseball. And I feel like he has one hot 3-week stretch and then is moved to the IL for 6 months.
yeah, homie gets hurt, and he's a lot better of a defensive catcher than
Yeah.
Samuel Basayo is as well. He's good bat, but yeah, they'll probably rotate DH as well. So yeah, could have some sneaky with that as well. So we'll have to see. And then yeah, just kind of it's fun to play along and find out as the game goes along too. Of just hey, yeah, some of the Colorado guys are sometimes fun to have because they'll have like a series or a week they're at home, and you're like, okay, their ball's going to be flying at some point. They're typically a little bit lower on the tier list as well. So sometimes it's fun to look at those guys. And then it's
Yeah.
yeah, fun to target like the opposing pitchers. So hey, Colorado's here. Okay, we're gonna get the Miami bats out or whatnot and target just the bad pitching staffs
That's
kind
what
of
I
thing.
honestly, that is how I approach the beginning of the season is attack situations and then I go spend money on the big bats and big pitcher names. Like I just was like, how can I moneyball the month of April, And then once prices come down a little bit and I want to make some big splashes so I'm ready for the second half of the season and it doesn't hurt my piggy bank as much. Windy City Assassin was asking if I'm selling any classic cards. I'll be honest, I have not. I am so basketball pilled right now. And
Yeah, here we go.
I just don't have the energy to sell stuff, I don't think. So my plan was just to buy stuff and then but I don't know. Is it worth have you been messing around with the classic market at all?
I'm such a degen. I've been buying. I'm like, oh, this is a good opportunity to get my vault up, or whatever. But I'm like, oh, Mookie Betts for like 460 is Eric from Digital Duckout, but he has an outfielder positional eligibility on him for this one. And when he came out, like I was one of the first guys to buy him, and it was like $100 for the card. Had a little bit. I think the market credits were only 25 back in those days.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, oh my precious. So I've got like Varsho too. Some of these have catcher eligibility, like Varsho and Fry as well. Some of the older ones. Diaz is like now the closer of the Dodgers, and it was like $3 essentially, and it was like, okay, like I have a bunch, but I can't help myself kind of thing. So,
and I think maybe you referencing the multiple position eligibility maybe for next week, because I do think we're going to start doing this every week, and we'll bring
that's great to hear.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's where I got to like confirm, but we're going to rotate guests a little bit more regularly, so it's just not me ripping solo. But one of the things we could do next week, because that'll be the last week, I think, before we have our first game week, is maybe highlight some. I know it's more useful in the pitching world, but like the relief pitchers who are starters, I know you put together some stuff. But we'll save that for next week as we're running out of time. But yeah, I think we're going to start doing this every week. And as always, open to feedback too of like stuff you guys would like to see. Typically what we would do is kind of get a lay of the baseball land, take a look at the schedule, some of the spots that everybody knows are good, some of the sneaky spots, finding different ways to get a little bit different if we need to. But yeah, if you guys have takes, definitely share them with me of what you would like to see content-wise. Let the So Rare people know that you want to see this every week too. That might be helpful. And
yeah, it's a lot more fun when you've got a community essentially.
Yeah, I totally agree. I totally agree.
And I really appreciate what you do for the community. And yeah, watching your shows helps me out a lot, Mike, and gives me ideas. And hey, we should attack it this way in strategy. And I think what's great is So Rare, we've got a good community where we work together and help each other out. And then by helping each other out, again, we get all better together as well too. So
yeah, it is. I think one of the beneficiaries or the beneficial things of the like the streaks, especially in NBA this year, is that like, of course, we're all competing against each other for podiums, but there was this kind of nice community thing of like, let's just get across the finish line. You know, let's get across this number threshold so that we can move on to the next streak. And it is. I feel like very rarely, except for Alan, if he's still watching, we do shit on Alan. But for the most part, everybody's rooting for everybody. We love.
Well, we got PVE now, so we can help everybody out. With
that's
too.
right.
Like, hey, you're just going for your streak number. Let's do it.
That's right. That's right. But yeah, we'll do this more. Jumpshoot, where can people find you?
I am just in the Discord streets and on Twitter or whatnot. I'm just kind of a regular guy on So Rare. Don't really run anything specific, but I do really like So Rare Edge and Nate Sawyer's products. So he's Patreon / So Rare Edge all together as well. If you've got any questions, feel free to.
And like you said, that's $5, and that's for a month of stuff, which is what, 8 game weeks. And it's also just a good way to support somebody who's providing a service for space that honestly, there's not a lot of third-party people building stuff around the MLB or NBA product. So we want to keep those people around. So don't go, instead of buying one limited card this auction, go support the So Rare Edge people so that we can keep this stuff going.
And what's great with So Rare Edge too, he does NBA. So if you have any NBA cards or want to throw them in, I follow NBA very loosely. Needed a little bit of a break after MLB, just because it's so intense. You're a marathon man, Mike. Congratulations. I was like, well, I'm cooked. I need a week.
I got to tell you, and I know this is a cross-platform a little bit, but because I did so much So Rare MLB last season, I got more excited about doing some best ball underdog stuff, which meant I got ready for the So Rare MLB season earlier because I've already been prepped. So I feel way better this year, where last year I was like, I guess I'll buy Roman Anthony and the rest of my Red Sox. This year I feel a little bit more prepped. So I'm looking forward to the season. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited. And we get is World Baseball Classic tonight? Is that
the final? Yes. Venezuela versus US. Venezuela's never won. We've won once before, so this would be our second as well. So yeah, pretty big. And the ABS is coming to MLB too. Oh, by the way, guys, it's going to kind of be a big deal, and it's going to get a lot of these crappy calls out of here, which is good for the game. So really happy to see that too.
Absolutely. All right, man, we're going to wrap this up. Jumpshoot, I always appreciate your time and insight and expertise on this stuff. If you guys have more questions, I shared the link a couple of times in the Discord. I'm going to update this maybe in an hour or so in the show notes. I'll put some of the links that we talked about in there. And then again, hopefully we're back here again on Tuesday. I'll confirm with everybody. And then, yeah, I'm going to share the Substack one more time too. Go give that some love if you haven't had a chance. It's free. That one's free. You don't have to worry about that. All right, let's. This is going to be for a classic card, by the way. Not going to be an in-season one because I haven't spent any money yet. So let's go. Winner.
Good luck to you. Good luck to you.
Let's hope the wheel spins better than the misses we saw. Jumpshoot spin.
Hey, $50 MP credits, right. Baby. I'm happy.
That's right. There we go. Ricky Ricardo.
Ricky.
Also, I think Ricky just won the basketball. I'll tell you what, we're going to spin this one more time. Ricky can still be. Ricky's still going to win. I'm going to give away two.
There we go. You'll love to see it.
All right, here we go. This one's going to Vincenzo.
Nice. Good job, Vincenzo. Saw GJF there too. So shout out to him. He's a real one. So appreciate all his help too. But thanks for all you do, Mike. You're really good. Thanks for inviting me on. Of course, man. Happy to come back on and jump on.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Yeah, good luck to all the community out there too with getting ready for game week 1 and have fun. I mean, it's a hobby. MLB is great. It's one of the best time of the year. So
yeah, this is the best time. Have fun. Getting those auctions, baby. We'll be back next week. Hopefully, maybe we'll have a Borland sighting. Who knows? Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you guys next time. We're out of here.